Senator Dolan.
Thank you so much, and to welcome this motion on childcare from Senator Sherlock and Senator Wall, and Minister, to have you here with us this evening on behalf of Minister Roderick O'Gorman. What's been raised here is very important, as you can see from the people in the gallery here as well, I know, who are working in the early years sector and who are managers in that sector. For me, I suppose I'm based in a more rural area, and I know, Senator Wall, you referred to this as well, and the challenges that we can face. I know within city centre areas, like you've mentioned, Senator Sherlock, like North City, Dublin and so on, huge population, really severe high demands as well on these services. I suppose some of the things that I've looked at, I suppose, over the past year are the numbers, and it really is, I suppose, that national childcare scheme and the numbers of services that have signed up for core funding. There are still services, I know, that are outside, but from what I understand, like over 90% of services have signed up to core funding. But there's still these huge challenges for services, independent childcare services, in terms of costs, because they've been incredible over the past year, and we're fully aware of that. I mean, I suppose from a government perspective, I know that the Temporary Business Energy Support Scheme is out there as well, and I suppose, that is something that has to be available, I know, to childcare providers to apply for this, because of the extreme costs that they're facing. I suppose that with the core funding comes responsibility, of course, and I suppose as a government and as a society, it's about working with everyone. Like, it's our children come first. It's providing a level of care that's available to parents from all backgrounds, that they're able to avail of this, and particularly single parents, because single mums and single dads are the ones that are the most vulnerable in terms of being able to accommodate these costs. I mean, they're most vulnerable in terms of poverty. The number one category is single parents. So their children, above all, have to be, we have to support them, first and foremost. I suppose for me, the area I'm in as well, we rank highly on the Public Deprivation Index, and this has to be used. And I know that we've talked about the families from different backgrounds, but the census that we've had last year and that we're going to be getting the reports on next year is really going to indicate, I suppose, areas of concern across the country that we will need to focus our resources and our budgets to as well. So I would very much like to highlight that would be something that the Minister would look at. Some of the areas that I think were mentioned as well by Senator Sherlock is around the pilot, around sort of access to potentially, meals, to food and so on, like similar to what we see with DESH. And we had Minister Heather Humphreys in here just literally right before this session speaking about, sort of the importance of rolling that out, the importance of hot school meals for children, and particularly the expansion of that to certain programs within DESH. I know some of the DESH schools will do free school meals, and then certain other programs will do, I think, up to 500 schools currently free hot school meals. But I would like to see that this pilot that's been rolled out, maybe, potentially an update on that, because I do believe there's over 150,000 that's been allocated to that this year. I really would like to see how that would work with something coming out of the census along with the Public Deprivation Index. For rural areas, the challenges are around obviously maintaining fees to ensure parents are able to access these services, to ensure that we're also able to, like in my area, we have the College of Further Education in Ballinasloe, and as spokesperson on education, I'm very interested in the level and breadth of courses that we're able to offer. In my town, we offer 3 different types of courses. One of those is childcare, there's pre-nursing, there's healthcare, there's horticulture as well, I think, and there's a number of others that are expanding. But I was able to attend a graduate ceremony last week in the College of Further Education, which is run by the Educational Training Boards. And there are young men and women that are doing courses around childcare, and they're increasing. And I suppose one of the other questions I would have for the Minister is around how do we ensure that some of these areas are able to do up to a level 4, level 5, for example, in their ETBs, and people can go along and do part-time courses the morning or the evenings. But in order to do the level 6, for example, it may only be offered online, which is, may work as well in some situations. But I would love to see how we could maybe offer those courses within our local towns across the country, where it would go up to a level 6. Because I know sort of having that graduate within the childcare services is also part of what we want to see being rolled out. And again, so many who had done those courses, through their level 5s, they're, coming into that programme. And are able to work. Like, what really gave me such heart was the young people I met doing those courses that were now graduates are working within the town of Ballinasloe. working in childcare services. And I would not underestimate the amount of, I suppose, jobs that are available and that we want to see, and services, independent childcare services providers within our towns. I know there's a huge need within our cities, but we are lucky and fortunate to have those courses. And I think if we had more of those courses in towns across the country, and I know the city might be, again, has different pressures, but I do think that if the Minister could commit to that being available, I think it would really increase the bandwidth, because I know some of the points that Senator Sherlock has raised is around, sort of the shortage of childcare places. So I would be interested in seeing how ETBs, maybe in city centre areas, could deliver that as well. And again, I would agree with you just on the points of disadvantage, and I would really like to see that been aligned with sort of that public deprivation index coming out of the census, and particularly, of course, children with disabilities. And Minister, you'd be very familiar, obviously, about how, our CDINs, again, a new initiative and so on that's coming out, but how we support that to be more effective. Again, I just want to thank you for bringing this to us. I suppose I have seen, an improvement over the past year. It has been acknowledged, the level of funding as a government, and this has been one of the key things that Fine Gael has driven, I know, over the last year to 2 years, has become one of our key priorities, I suppose, as a party in government as well.